Hello, everyone. Dr. Stevens here with a few words about the opinion paper and the use of the they say, I say model of academic writing. Before I begin, just let me point out that webcam view there, that little video of myself. If that interferes with what you are seeing on the screen, you can simply put your cursor on it and drag it to the side out of the way so you can see what we're talking about. All right, opinion paper. This is a sample opinion paper. Notice that it is in APA manuscript format so that it has a cover page. And then on the second page, the text of the paper itself begins. Now, what I want to do is I want to look at the structure of the opinion paper in terms of the basic essay, and then also look at the way the paper incorporates what they say and what I say, according to that model that is outlined in our textbook. All right, what do you do in an essay? An opinion paper is an essay, folks. And an essay always begins by announcing what its subject is. What is the subject of the essay? All right, in this particular case, we begin with an opening sentence that one needs a college degree to succeed in a career has become conventional wisdom in the U.S. since World War II. Okay? All right, so topic relationship between college degree and succeeding in a career. People naturally expect that what one learns in college will be somehow connected with the workplace and so on. All right, the general topic then, the relationship between a college education and the workplace or the job or the career and so on. Now, notice these green highlights here. Conventional wisdom. People naturally expect. What is the writer doing here? And by the way, the writer is myself, of course. I mean, this is a sample paper that I wrote for the benefit of you all in English 102, so you could see an opinion paper. People naturally expect. This is announcing what they say. Okay? So we begin, and this is one pattern, and it's the usual pattern, by the way, in academic writing. The usual pattern is to begin by locating what you have to say about a subject in the general conversation about that subject. And one way of doing that is simply to announce what people in general are saying about that topic. All right, so what we're saying here is that people generally think that there's some kind of connection between college education and so on. Okay, now notice that I'm not using those templates here. The templates themselves are not essential to academic writing. The templates are simply a way of formatting the writing so that we can make it clear what they say and what I say. All right? But it is essential, regardless of whether you use the templates or not, it is essential that you identify who they are. And these phrases, conventional wisdom, people, right, identify who they are. And in this particular case, these phrases refer to people in general. Conventional wisdom is a conventional or stock phrase that generally refers to what the public thinks, what most people think about a subject. Notice how we begin then to focus this they. All right, many in education. We've got what people in general think, and now we have what people in education think. So we're narrowing the they, and we are continuing to identify who they are, right? Many in education, students and faculty, question the usefulness of a broad liberal education. Notice how we are narrowing the topic. We begin by a general statement of the general subject that we're dealing with, that is education and career, right? Get down here. I want to put a little green highlight there, all right? I want to put a green highlight there because this also is a reference to they. As a society, we, all right? What we in general, which is a form of they, right? The society. We here simply refers to society. It doesn't refer to the author of the paper. All right. As a society, this is what we have come to think. Society thinks of education in terms of getting a job. Now we're going to narrow the focus of the topic. And we're going to narrow it, first of all, by referring to what people in education say, students and faculty. All right? And we're going to narrow not only who they are, but the subject itself. So now the subject becomes the usefulness of a broad liberal education. College programs for a bachelor's degree require the so-called general education courses. All right. History, science, math, and so on. All right, so we're narrowing the subject here. Narrowing it further, we hear the old question, what use is this going to be to me out on the job? Now, it's not obvious here, but this is another reference to they, isn't it? People in general, but in this particular case, students in general, right? What use is this going to be to me on the job? The people talking here, hypothetically, would be students. Or the old complaint, I'm never going to use this. This would be a student complaint, right? Okay, so we're focusing more and more here. We're developing the topic. The topic is, remember, the stages in development here. All right, the topic, first of all, is education and career. More specifically, it is the usefulness of the liberal arts or liberal education and career. More specifically still, it is what educators think about that issue, the liberal education and career. And now, even more specifically, we have educators tend to think students are going to resist taking courses they don't need, and they will be reluctant learners in those courses. Notice the progression here in the development of the topic from the general to the more specific. And then finally, all right, this is the writer's conclusion about what they say about this specific topic, folks. It is common to think of students as people opposed to a broad liberal education. All right. We've come now to the end of the they say part of the paper. We have summarized by moving from the general to the particular what people in general, then educators and students specifically, are saying about the liberal arts curriculum. Now we start to focus on the writer. My experience is different. What are we doing here? We're moving into the I say part of the paper, right? Very important. This is one of the requirements for your opinion paper. You've got to summarize what they say, then you've got to state what you say. My experience is different. And the my or the I here is somebody who teaches literature. All right, so we've got another one of these educators, but this is a specific educator, all right, who has a different thing to say on this subject. If I forget what people say about students' attitudes toward learning, all right, in general, students' attitudes, or more specifically, I guess, students' attitudes toward the liberal arts or the general education curriculum, right? If I forget what they say and I pay attention to what students do, I get a different picture. So now the reader knows, oh, okay, this guy is going to give us the picture from his point of view, what he has to say. And my picture comes from the way students react in class and on papers and exams and so on, right? Okay. And those reactions, that is the way students not only react to or behave, but with what students actually think about, what their attitudes are, and so on. Those reactions vary a great deal. There are the predictable negative reactions, okay? But there are positive reactions also. So we're developing here the second part of the topic. First, what people in general say about the general education curriculum. Secondly, what this particular writer, who is also an educator, has to say about what students think. All right, so we're going to move here to the conclusion. There's got to be a main point. There's got to be a thesis for a paper, right? Now here's the clincher. The writer is announcing his main point. It's coming up, folks. He hasn't actually stated it here. He's simply giving you a little road sign here. Start looking for my main point. I admit that students don't necessarily like these assignments. All right. And so on and so forth. We're leading up to the main point. Whether they enjoy the assignment or find it difficult or easy, they almost always take it seriously, and this is the most important point. Structure of an essay. Make your main point clear. This particular writer, namely myself, is making his main point clear by coming right out and saying, here's the important point. In general, students take responsibility for those liberal arts courses. What have we done then? We've followed the general essay format. We announce a topic. We develop that topic. We narrow it down. All right? We come to a conclusion. We come to a main point or a thesis, if you will. This could be announced in the beginning. In this particular paper, I didn't do that. All right? But it's all there. The topic, the development of the topic, the main point that the writer is making about that topic, all clearly laid out. Secondly, the they say, I say model of academic writing. All right? Opinion paper, this is an academic paper. It's for a college course. And what's the general pattern? Number one, summarize what they say about the subject. Number two, summarize what you, the writer, have to say, or the I say about the subject. And make sure, always, folks, make sure that you identify who they are. In this particular case, they are society in general, people in general, and more specifically, educators, meaning students and faculty, people in education. Remember that, okay? They say, I say, make sure that the reader knows who they are. Thanks for listening. I'm going to follow this up with another little talk about the relationship between the opinion paper and the research paper. But that's all for now.